Yep. So Tori, no one's here, so I'm gonna go
That's okay.
ask Gavin what just happened.
What was?
What just happened?
Oh, no, Mary. Oh, a different one, her other friend, Mary Ann Siskowski.
Okay, so not Mary
They're
Ann's.
best friends, Mary Ann. Her mother just met, and they asked me to cover for her mom.
They probably was trying to get on, they couldn't, because you hadn't got on yet.
Who was
Did
trying?
we ever, ask Teresa about what's the other announcement?
Yeah, I don't see anybody trying to log in. I mean, I get, no, I mean, I get notifications as well
Oh, okay, even if you're not on there yet?
in a different email. This is the UNNC email, and
Okay.
there's no notification.
So that sounds like acknowledged.
It doesn't usually acknowledge everyone, but if someone's trying to get in, they usually say that. I don't see it.
Oh. That's cute. Well. Whew, that's unbelievable. Everybody you know is probably watching this
Do
debate.
you think? I think so too.
I wish I would have thought about it ahead of time. We could have did it
Yeah.
last week.
Actually, and we probably could have. So,
Yeah, but the speaker, let me call her. She can still record. Denise, where are you? Let's see. Denise, okay. Let's see where she is. Everybody really watching this debate for real.
Your call has been.
Oh, well, that's it of that. Well, should we start anyway?
it's not quite 7 o'clock.
Oh.
Well, it is quite
It's
7
7:01.
It's 7 o'clock. Okay. Well, we could.
Well, that's weird.
Because we're expecting at least.
Somebody right there.
Oh, hey, there we go, your speaker. Okay.
Hi, Denise.
She's not quite.
Yeah, not quite. Hi, Denise.
Yeah, she's still.
Oh, just getting my.
Hi, there she is.
There you
Oh,
are.
yeah.
Look, I think everybody's watching the debate. Had I
Right.
known this was debate night, I would have rescheduled for last week.
I am almost certain that a lot of people would be watching this debate.
Well, I was until like 40 seconds ago.
Oh, sure. Well, welcome back, though. Welcome back as the primary guest today. And even though it's just us so far, the trio, we still can go ahead and give the information. You'll have it on YouTube later,
Right.
and then you can use
And
it
we're
for-
recording it in the Zoom as well.
Right.
So there's multiple platforms.
The record button on, or did you have to hit it again?
Well, see, it says recording and it says recording. And
Oh, I
then
don't see it. Okay.
Well,
Oh, there it is. Okay.
disappear. Well,
There it
they
is. It's there.
they just updated the program 30 minutes ago.
Oh.
In other words, that's what one
Oh,
of
that's
the
what was
delays.
happening?
That was what one of the things was, and it's like, oh gosh. Do you
Okay.
see how the bottom looks just a little different again?
It does.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Well, we just had an upgrade on the system, Denise, and so it is recording. So you will be able to access it for promotional purposes or whatever you need to use it for.
And Denise, are you going to be doing a physical presentation? Do I need to make you a co-host? Oh, I'm looking at the computer instead of looking at you. Sorry.
I was, because I thought there might be people in the room that didn't know about the WIN app. If you guys fully know that WIN app, we could go right to the questions that we were going to talk about. But I was going to do kind of a full background on what it was, because I thought it was
Well,
very.
I think that'd be still a good idea
Yeah.
because,
Yeah, you need to talk about what it is.
because we're recording.
Right.
So there's still, so at the moment, we have barely started the meeting, I haven't posted the agenda. There may be, as we dance around for about 5 or 10 minutes, maybe we'll get some other people.
Right.
But my real question is, should I make you a co-host? And I think I just will do so. So if you do end up having something to share.
Right, like if you have any PowerPoints or photos you want to
Right.
share.
Okay.
Yeah. I do, usually when I talk about the WIN app, and I am uncertain how familiar people really are with it, I do a PowerPoint because I think it's easier to see than just to talk about something that people have no idea what you're actually talking about.
Well, that's good. You have access now as co-host, so you can do your PowerPoint.
But not quite yet.
Not yet, but yeah, in about 5 minutes when I, say so, but you can set up and do what you have to do.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so what
What?
well,
Uh-oh.
I know. Uh-oh. Where's the word share?
There you go.
They redid the screen, so here we go.
Well, that's a new design.
So, uh-oh.
There you go.
Right.
Okay, so now the agenda's on the screen.
Not quite. I mean, it is.
Oh, is this,
but I
give
need
me
to-
one of those, Laura.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so, Tori, you want to introduce yourself for
So,
the
is that
recording?
somebody trying to come in? Okay,
No.
I am Tori Bailey, currently the elected homelessness liaison in the West Adams District, Kenny Heights, actually from Western to Crenshaw, and from Jefferson to Pico. However, I get calls from everywhere, and this is for the United Neighborhoods Neighborhood Council. So, as the homelessness liaison, we're having our informational meeting that happens monthly, and different guests come on, and we enjoy learning all the new information that's happening around homelessness. So tonight we have,
Tonight we have a really-
coming on already,
yeah.
but
Tonight we have a really full agenda that may or may not happen. So we
no.
have general public comments, and I'm Laura Myers, I'm Vice President of UNNC. We have CD10 updates,
oh, Roger.
maybe. Well,
Oh,
Roger would have
Lord.
to join for us to get the updates. We have a discussion with Dr. Denise McCain, who is present with us now. And should we get to it, we could potentially have a round robin discussion on current issues in homelessness, including street team outreach, a report about the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment's neighborhood councils, that's plural, homelessness liaison meeting, which occurred recently, or the homeless count update, although I think I'd like to put that one on hold since
Which one?
the homeless count update.
Oh, yeah, we can do that next time.
Because it was just reported by LAS that the count is way off.
Oh, of
It was
course.
reported today with overcounting.
Oh.
I'm thinking,
We
let a
gotta
month
do
or two
that.
go by and let's see how this all plays out. And that is the agenda for tonight. And the next meeting of this committee will be a month from today, July 25th, 2024.
Yes.
Okay, and that's settled because environmental is moved to the third Thursday. Because July's a mess, the calendar's a mess.
Right, that's okay.
So, okay,
Well, that's even better, because you can explain the entire system to us, how it came to be. And yeah, that would be wonderful. So we'll understand the entire system.
Mhm.
That way, a lot of the agencies can look at it later. Not that I didn't invite a couple of them here. However, it was, we got to work on getting the agenda like the week before.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do. Because by the time I get to it and try to send it out to different people, and you as a speaker send it out, it's kind of last minute for the other party. So we got to work on like the week before.
Well, yeah, but I also
Yeah.
think people's attention was
Well,
digressed.
Well, that too.
That and/or, I mean, I know people are already going to LAX and taking a really long July 4th vacation. Maybe not in the world of homelessness, however.
Right.
But,
Okay.
but sort of. Anyway, so,
We don't have, do you have any public comment that you would like to make that's not on the agenda? Anything other than your system? Okay, so we can bypass that. I was trying to see if Roger actually,
he's planning to be here.
well, I sent him the attachment.
And then, Tori, you do know that the meeting link is the same every month.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, the meeting
Yeah.
link, you can send the meeting link at any time
Okay,
to anyone.
Okay,
And
I'll
just
start
say,
doing
this is
that.
our permanent link.
yeah,
What changes every month is the agenda packet link.
right.
But,
That'll work. Yeah, and I'll
Right.
start doing that earlier.
excuse me, now I'm gonna cough.
Uh-oh,
No, not uh-oh, just I'm
okay.
swallowed wrong.
Okay. Okay, that's it.
That's all it is.
Okay, well, with CD updates, I'm sure they are watching the debate because that's part of their job. So he didn't tell me. I saw them Friday, and he didn't say there was any major urgencies around homelessness right now, other than they are still trying to clean up the area and sanitize. So I saw a lot of that today, in different areas, about the sanitation. So I'm sure that's one for sure.
Well, I know that Council District 10 has been focusing recently on Washington Boulevard and Arlington Heights. So they cleared for a minute, 21st Street,
Yeah,
which is the
yeah, I
street.
saw that.
But they're back. The encampment is back on 4th Avenue in the cul-de-sac on
Yeah, we
again,
went
the
over
north
there.
side. He's back, or someone, but he's back. And all the RVs are back
Yeah, I saw
west
that.
of 6th Avenue.
Yeah.
So, but I know that that's one of the things CD10's been working on.
Yeah, I reported it again when I went over there to
Okay.
talk to one of the residents in the RV. And
Yeah.
it's
But
just a
I just know
cycle.
that that's what they've been doing.
Yeah,
All right,
it's a cycle.
in our area.
So,
So I think it's Denise's turn.
yeah, sanitation. Okay, with no further ado, we'll have discussions today and learn a lot about the history and the evolution of the WIN app, according to Dr. Denise McCain. And we will give her a virtual hand clap and a real hand clap. And you have the floor, Dr. McCain.
And if you wouldn't mind introducing yourself for the tape audience or anybody who might be watching on YouTube.
Oh yeah, she gonna give me history, so yeah.
I am Dr. Denise McCain, and I just want to thank you for inviting me to join you for your meeting and for the opportunity to share with you a little bit about the When What I Need app. So the origins of this app, and actually our organization, we originally were founded to address youth homelessness. It was called Our Children LA, and the first app was only for youth and the first directory. And within, oh gosh, that came out in the first app came out in 2015. And we were asked to make it for everybody pretty quick. And so by 2018, the WIN app, the database had been expanded to cover services for youth, families, and adults. In 2020, we were asked to expand for unique senior services. And in 2021, we were able to get some funding, 2 of our board of supervisors and some private funding together to translate everything in Spanish. So the history really is that I was on the policy and foundation side and was seeing quite a need in youth homelessness, and everybody was talking, those original conversations in 2011, 2012, 2013 were only around chronic or veterans. And I felt like I was a lone voice in the wilderness saying, but what about the pipeline? Let's start looking at who might be also that is coming down the road that aren't chronic yet, maybe aren't veterans, but we need to address. And from there, I mean, that was the tip of the iceberg. So what,
Excuse me, you don't have to rush. You can say it a little slower so people can understand.
sorry, I'm not so used to fully being taped, so my apologies. Okay, different when you're in the room and you're talking to people. Anyway,
Right.
okay. So what is the WIN app? WIN stands for What I Need. It was actually named by youth that were experiencing homelessness who were very firm when we did. I went to a lot of drop-in centers and talked to a lot of folks, and not surprisingly, nobody wanted anything on their phone that said the homeless. So there was a number of names that were pulled together by different young folks, adults and staff that had, experience in this area. We narrowed it down to 6 and we put it to a vote to drop-in centers around the county, and that's how we got the name, the WIN app. It's free. It's 100% free to download. It's 100% free to use. It's also 100% confidential. We're the only user-driven, user-first app like this in the country. Nobody ever signs in to use WIN. It is developed to empower people that are unhoused or who are struggling and are resource insecure, to give them an ability to find and connect to free supportive services that are available. And we know that if you do a search in WIN and you find some place that might sound like a place you'd like to connect to, if you do, you can call them through the app, you can email them through the app, however you want to connect, they will get what information they need from you. But we don't need information to enable you to just look and see if there's something you're comfortable with. So again, as I said, it serves as a safety net for anyone who is housed but resource insecure, unstably housed, homeless by any definition. We are not wedded to a particular definition or criteria. One of the goals for this app was we originally had done it as a small print directory. Actually now our print directory is over like 300 pages, but at the time it was 25. And the reason we moved into the mobile technology side of it is obviously much easier to keep updated. And also because of the Federal Lifeline program, everybody has a phone, everybody uses their phone to search, and it made no sense. Even when we started working on the mobile technology for the app, which was fully 10 years ago, it made no sense to us not to do an app. So we wanted to leverage that technology. We wanted to leverage the fact that that phone is in your pocket, in your hand, and that you can search. We also, in talking to folks that were homeless, realized we needed to make it available to be used even if you weren't connected to the internet. So as long as you've downloaded it to your phone, you can actually search WIN without being connected, which is a positive if you're struggling to have connectivity services. We wanted to improve social equity. An information barrier is a system barrier. And if you don't know how to find food or how to find a homeless shelter, then you are trapped. We also wanted to honor dignity and privacy, which is why it is confidential. And we wanted to engender trust that the app is actually for the person searching. So this is what it looks like. This is our current dashboard. There's 12 categories of services. This app has over 2,300 programs listed in it. They are divided into these types of categories. All the categories are self-explanatory, except, of course, the one called More at the bottom right. And that is all the types of services one might be looking for and could be really useful, but don't fall within any of the others. So the goal within this, there's a little icon we'll talk about a little later at the bottom, which it says survey on that tiny little menu at the bottom menu. And in there, and you can also find it through the shelter category, is we were able to launch some interactive survey technology last fall that empowers users to learn if they qualify for HUD housing. So basically you take a screener and you can learn if you qualify. And then if you do, well, where should you go? What should you take with you for that interview and assessment? We also, for anyone that enables alerts on the, when you download any app, you could ask if you want notifications sent to you. If you do, with the Win app, the notifications you receive we send out anywhere from 10 to 30 or more alerts every week in both English and in Spanish, telling people about free resource fairs, community events, job fairs, health fairs, food distribution pop-ups that might be useful and helpful to them. So as I said, it's free to use and free to download. It is available in both of the Google Play Store and in the Apple App Store, and also on our website, which there's a web version one can just use. So yeah.
What's your website?
OCLAWIN.org. So how does it really work so you could find these programs? So again, and what's in it? So all the programs in the app are either free or low cost, typically meaning sliding scale. All the programs in the app have to be available to someone searching for help without a referral. So that means if housing is only available through CES, we do have the CES doors, the agencies. We're not going to list the housing that you're not allowed to walk into the door if CES hadn't referred you, because we haven't done a good service, because then someone's just going to be turned away. And we do know that the more people are turned away, the less likely they are then to reach out. And we're trying to reduce the time of people being unconnected, not create frustration.
Right.
So we also have access to hotlines and then that survey access that I mentioned. So what does it look like? So on this one, let's say you're on the dashboard page and you choose to search for jobs. If you click on the job button, it opens up, and any of these, they all open up to a set of filters so you can narrow it. Now you can just search without narrowing it, just click the little blue button. Or you could say, oh, actually, I only want to look for jobs that are for supporting people that are probation, parole, and reentry. So if you click that, those are the job kinds of job providers that would work uniquely with you that you would find. Once you click on search or you click something to filter it, either way, you're going to get a search result list. So once you've hit the search button, you're going to get a list. And this is an example of what that list looks like. Obviously, they can be quite long. Depends on how you narrate it. This one, I narrowed it by neighborhood, which was Antelope Valley. Hence only 4 results. If I have no filters, you're going to get scores of results. So on this search results page, what you will always see is the name of the agency, the name of the program, a 1-line, very brief description. You'll see whether they're open or closed, what their hours are, and what region of the county they are in. Now, if you have turned your location on when you downloaded the app, or you can do it in your profile at any time, it will sort them by what's closest to you. So, which is very helpful, because if you're in Long Beach, you really don't care what's going on in Antelope unless you've got a car, because that's not going to be where you're going to go. If you don't have your location turned on, then the default will be alphabetical, but you can actually go up under that sort by button and choose to sort by neighborhood, by alphabetical, whichever you choose. You also see up there those age, community, neighborhood. That enables you to narrow a search. Let's say you search for all of them and you're in a category that return hundreds of results. And you say, under age, you can shorten it and only, like, let's say you're an 18-year-old and you would rather look at programs that only serve transition age youth. You can click the 18 to 25 age range and you will only get back results on that will serve you. The same with community. Community in this context does not mean a neighborhood community. It means a community of people. And there are 5 communities so far that we've identified that there are enough unique programs and services to make it meaningful for you to search for. One is probation and reentering. Then it's pregnant and parenting, current and former foster youth, LGBTQ, and I am missing one. It's been a long day. Apologies.
That's okay.
So, but there are 5 of them, and that's another way one can search. Now, you can also search if you don't choose by category. You see the little star right by the word search on the top menu bar line. And to that, that allows you to search for the other way you could filter a major search, this one within a category. If you choose this one, you may choose to search across all categories for every program that has unique services for a particular community. Or you can search across all categories using a keyword, or you could search across all categories using a zip code. So, so these are what each of those pages would look like if you chose them. You can see there when you open up that search bar, you get to choose between keyword, zip, or community. And in the first column on the left, what you're seeing is the person has chosen search by community, and there are the 5 communities. And veterans was the one I was missing before. And then you could choose to look across all categories. Just see, I want to know everywhere that all programs that this app lists in every single category that will serve LGBTQ. So you can do the same by keyword. You could plug in a keyword and see all programs that may have that keyword. And then you can also search just in a particular zip code. Now, obviously, the caveat on that is there are zip codes in LA County that may not have a single service, but
Right.
you have the right to search by zip code and see if there is something in your zip code. Once you do a search and you've seen the list and an agency, you would like to read more about a program. This is just reviewing what it would look like if you were to choose community and check on that. If you were to pick an agency now in your search result list, you're going to get an agency page. Now that you're going to scroll down. For PowerPoint purposes, I had to screenshot each part of that, scroll down so you could see what you would see. So every single program listed is going to have the name of the program, the name of the agency. If it is a program that they would like to have like an image of, it will be there. Otherwise, it'll be a logo. You'll see the hot links line where you can call the program directly through the app. You can go to the program's website. You can email them through the app. And you can also get directions, again, if your location is on, from where you are to where that program is. And you could choose that so to help you get there. It will give you their hours, a description of the program, a list of some of their services, who they serve, the ages, the language, the address, contact information. And this is what it looks like if you were to have enabled notifications. So you wanted to find out what the alerts are. So here are some alerts that were sent earlier this week that went out in the Win app, and to anyone that had it, they got these alerts. And then they can, again, the little red arrow shows if somebody were to choose the EBT holder, which was the first one, and want to read more about that alert, you click on it and you get whatever the full details are for that alert. There's another thing that occurs in the app to make it easier for people to find is for youth and for seniors, we have unique icons. So when you get that search result list of like all the agencies that match your initial search, on that right side, you would see an icon if they serve youth only, that program, or if that program is senior only. And this came out of focus groups that found that separately, both of those 2 age demographics found it easier to find something that was for them and were more likely to want something that was only for them. And it made it easier for them to find. And in fact, for seniors, it was almost imperative that there be some kind of unique marking icon. So there's a lot of unique community services. So for example, if you were wanting, like in food, you can choose senior meals. Under drop-in centers, you can find senior centers. Under hotlines, there is a senior helpline. Under transit, there is a senior transit opportunity. Now, there are a lot of services found in WIN that you might not realize when you just see those 12 category names. So, for example, under the shelter category, other than the obvious, the ES or emergency shelters, there are maternity shelters, safe parking, domestic violence. Under health, there's a plethora of all the types of health and mental health supports that you might expect, but there's also transgender services. Under jobs, there are work source and youth source centers, as well as folks like Chrysalis that provide job training. Under education, we have everything from the K through 12 homeless liaison that supports families with students that are homeless, but also courses for GED, college student resources, tutoring, and a lot more. The more category, again, things that didn't fit anywhere else. Where do you get free clothing? How about if you need free tattoo removal? You need to get some free care for your pet. There's even nostalgic radio, which is radio music and programming that is from the 1940s. So like the 1970s or 80s, and it's specifically designed to support seniors and apparently has some unique memory benefits to let people hear things that they listened to when they were young. There's also grief and funeral support. Now, again, every filter may not have all, like, 100 things. We have what we know exists. Sometimes there's a result of 3 or 4. Sometimes there's a result of 50 or 60. It's going to depend what we know and have been advised is truly available here in the county. Under money, you can look for everything like from cash benefits and to rental and utility assistance, and even things like free Wi-Fi support. So things that people we really want to know, users are always put first. That means there's no tracking, no sign-in. There are community connections that you can make through the app, and that everything is free or sliding scale. We do regular database updates. Both our staff volunteers from LA Works and Repair the World work with us on that, because then you can imagine, while nothing's perfect, I could update something you and I together right this minute, and we could find out tomorrow morning the agency announced a change of hours, but we wouldn't all know it because we wouldn't be looking. But we do try to stay on top of it with a system of trying to keep circling back. And also when my staff or I are at any community meetings, often with the providers, they will announce that they've made changes, and that also helps us by being present. We learn that. So a couple of new things. One, we just launched last fall this housing advocacy survey. So this is what it would look like if you clicked on shelter right now. You're going to see what housing do you qualify for, so you can take this survey. We're also piloting outreach about it on community college campuses, because so many community college students are unhoused or sleeping in cars. And after this pilot, we hope to take what we learn about piloting outreach about it more broadly to everybody, but everybody can take it from the day it was launched. It's for everybody. So the goals are really to help people learn if they qualify, enable them to advocate for themselves when they meet with a housing assessor, and offer tips and helpful information about how to go about it, as well as additional information that might be useful to their circumstances. And then there's the new pilot we're working on now. I think I mentioned it very briefly at the last meeting, and I'm excited to talk about this. So right now, as we all know, there's a gap between the beds that are available and the number of folks in need of a shelter, a residence, a home, or a bed. Some of this problem is far outside of our control. There's just years were spent not building affordable housing to keep up with the population. Putting that piece aside, because it's a rabbit hole that we can't solve, what we can do is try to look for ways to reduce time spent seeking a safe place to live, to stay. And so there is a group called TAY. The acronym is TAYHAT. It stands for Transitional Age Youth Housing Action Team. It was put together by some folks at the county. There's some consultants that lead it, and there's a number of providers that work with young adults that are looking at one of the questions is, how do you reduce that time? And how do you support someone who perhaps there is either no CES housing available, or they've qualified, but they're on the triage list somewhere way down the line. They're still not anywhere. They don't have a bed. And then there's those that may not be either desirous or eligible for a CES housing, but still need housing placement. So what we are doing is we have now developed technology in the WIN app, which we're calling the Beds Available technology. And it's going to be a little icon that, just like we saw the icons for senior and youth that said youth only or senior only, this little icon will be a bed. It just looks like a bed, and it means that that agency has beds available in real time at that moment. And to help, so that way we're piloting. This group actually requested to be the pilot group. And it's also a feature that we would like to take much broader to support a broad population. So what we'd like to be able to have is that anyone who is looking for a bed or a shelter would be able to look and see if there's a bed available for non-CES housing. CES housing obviously has to go through CES, but there are some shelter and residential beds that are actually available, both CES and non-CES. Some providers have both, and others are completely outside the system. So here's what I was hoping to get to pick your brains on. So for that, beds available. So love your thoughts in general on the pros and cons with connecting unhoused or resource insecure folks to non-system housing that can be accessed without a referral.
Okay. You're asking for some insight?
Well,
Yeah, I've got 4 questions here that I'd love to.
Well, I have a whole table of a task force who are not on any list, but they have beds available. And it's probably about maybe collectively they're over 100 beds, but they're not available beds. So I don't know how many at this moment they have available, but I know one of the houses in particular has 12 beds available right now. So if that's just one with 12, imagine 5, 6 others. So that's almost 100 beds. So that are available. So how could I get those how could I get them on the list when they are not in the CES system yet, but they are accepting and they have been for the past 20 years? But they're working in conjunction with LASA right now with their inspections and pre-approvals, even though, there's a plethora of beds out there like that. So I just want to see how we can pilot this particular group that are in the pre-approval stages of being accepted through LASA's program. Since LASA is not the only agency, but they are the primary agency when it comes to CES and HMIS and the trainings and everything.
So I'm going to jump in. I run the land use committee, and we're always guilty of using all kinds of acronyms and then having to stop and explain it.
Oh, that's right.
So what the heck is a CES or a non-CES?
Well,
Sorry about that.
Sorry, and that is a phenomenally good question. The CES is Coordinated Entry System, and it is a system that the county adopted some years ago so that if you are homeless, instead of whatever agency you're walking into just calls whoever they know and they place you or they don't. Instead, you go, there's like different agencies that have been designated as kind of the CES screener, let's say, for a region, and you go in and you get assessed for how high your need is. Again, even with the beds that are around the county that have been approved, there's more people in need of them than.
Right.
So what they use this for is decide who gets them, and it's supposed to bring an element of transparency and allowing the county to enable that those that have been deemed highest need for a bed get it over someone that they don't deem as high a need.
Right, so, but from an outsider point of view, it sounds like it's a gatekeeper system,
It is.
as opposed to well, I wasn't gonna say that, as opposed to a system that's set up to keep on increasing the flow.
Right.
It sounds more like a barrier and
It is.
gatekeeper.
It is.
And then, as Tori knows and Donna knows, there was a moment in earlier in spring when I was trying to help. Several of us were trying to figure out a way to find housing for a particular person who had multiple diagnoses. And, well, it's not all diagnoses. So, someone who was both trans and also had psychological diagnoses. So it's dual diagnosis. I mean, I don't like to say that trans is a diagnosis.
No, it's just
It's who
right.
you are.
It's right.
But needed safe housing for female,
Right.
but was also someone who was schizophrenic. And let me just say, nothing ever really happened because it was all barrier based.
Yes.
It was completely barrier based.
Yeah.
So I would think that in an app like this, there should also be,
A way to add those other.
to add the elements of, diagnosis is just the wrong word, but if someone's searching for housing that's safe for children and parents, you must think about having that. So what about housing for dual diagnosis, or safe housing for women, safe housing for trans?
That falls under the category of LGBTQIA++.
Well, yes and no, because, or maybe it does. I mean, in other words, is it a barrier? Does everyone who is trans and trans woman have to be in an LGBTQ setting, or can they be in a women's setting? And the answer may be that they have to be in an LGBTQ.
No,
because
I can answer that
Well, maybe
because
other women don't.
no, our hotel
Mhm.
that I worked at for over 3 years had trans. Had I don't know if they were actually trans or they just dressed the way they did or they whatever. Whatever it is, they were allowed to be there because they identified as female.
Right, but I'm saying the app needs to make clear even those things.
She mentioned about the LGBTQ, but that's up to the person, I guess, being interviewed whether they disclose it or not.
That is correct. I mean,
in other
words,
site.
our frustration in part was we were getting barriers from the person we were trying to find housing for, but she didn't really want to be in an LGBTQ.
Right, and she probably didn't have to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just an assumption. You'll never know until you actually go to the actual facility.
Right, but I think, I don't know if the app can handle that kind of nuance. But this is neither a pro nor con. This is just a comment.
But remember,
anyway, so I think it's very positive and pro to be able to connect unhoused or resource insecure people to non-system housing, because then they can avoid that gatekeeper. So if that's your question, that's my perspective.
I think everybody that has a bed should be able to be on this app.
Right.
So what's the likelihood of that, Dr. Denise?
Well, first I want to just say thank you first for the suggestions. We don't have the ability right now to add an extra filter level saying housing safe for dual diagnosis, housing safe only for trans. And those are really good suggestions. So I appreciate that. The next piece
I was going to say, I got hyper focused on the one. One of my college roommates runs in a different state housing for dual diagnosis, but the dual diagnosis that she most is focused on is hearing loss and mental illness. So deaf and schizophrenic, for example. So there's all kinds of dual diagnoses.
Right.
And what I learned from her, and this is years ago, is that nobody's systems are set up for dual diagnoses. They're all are singular. So it's just, I'm just putting that out.
I mean, I think what it is it's like finding out, do we have facilities that meet those needs? Because it doesn't make sense for us to allow someone to screen for it and say, sorry, too bad, nothing there. So, but these are very good suggestions and I like it. And the next piece you asked was, I mean, you both said you felt there was a place for connecting and including in the app non-system housing. So then it raises, these are the next questions. How do we ensure non-CES shelter beds or homes are as safe as CES spaces? Like what, and beneath that, like, are there groups that accredit them? Are there certifications that they have? But so many of these places are going to be amazing, but without right now, if you refer place within the system, if someone's searching for a bed, they do know that the system has deemed it to be minimally safe. And we are not inspectors. That's not what we can do. So, but I feel like there must be, a lot of these homes must belong to something or have some inspection. I don't know, but I just kind of want to know, what do we think? What's the way to do it?
I will just put them under, well, it's not that they wouldn't have access or can't have access to CES. They just use it for referencing. But I think you should just do a category, just have them on there. And with an asterisk or something, and make it real small, saying non-CES.
These mostly licensed facilities?
Yeah,
These are
a lot of them
are licensed.
A lot of them are licensed without CES.
These are the people who we've met at some of these meetings, right? So they're running board and care kind of things. But they almost always are licensed.
Right.
That doesn't mean they're perfect. Doesn't mean they don't steal money. I mean, in other words, I think it's a crap. Yeah, I think there's a crapshoot in this world. The sober living houses, for example.
Oh, I don't know.
Some of them are licensed, some of them are not. Some of them take the person's stealing money. But you're getting this amount from Social Security. I'm taking it.
It's there to be paid, because I do know a couple like that. They charge $700 a night, and they take it out of their Social Security. That's some of them. So
I don't think you can insure it. But what we also hear at this committee is how does the housing provider ensure that the person is safe?
No, absolutely.
For their co-tenants, co-housemates. So I don't think you have that role.
Well,
no, what we have is anything we put in the app, if we were to put in an app something that there was no licensing, no review, nothing by any external appropriate whatever, and we find out that somebody then falls, is molested, trafficked, and then fell through the floorboards. I mean, everything
that's not something
happened.
Obviously,
they would turn around among the many folks getting sued. They would say, "Oh, the app told me it was there, and I assumed everything in the app would be safe."
Well, I think intuitively, because I haven't looked into this, I would think your bare minimum would be they have a license and they have whatever required insurance is required.
Is somebody trying to me? Well,
I mean, there must be insurance.
I'm gonna just chime in here from experience with working with all of them.
Yeah.
I don't care what license or insurance somebody's trying to get in. I know I heard something. Yeah. I don't care what kind of license or app or anything you may have. There is no guarantee of safety. Because, but I can tell you that the house owners or managers, they do have training and harm reduction and safe environments. I'm sure they've had a walkthrough of some sort. They've been in business 20, 30 years with no incidents. Okay. And whatever incidents they have, they've been able to put it out with minimal repercussion. So, I mean, I help actually at the sites. and you cannot guarantee anything, although you're there to monitor and make sure nothing does happen. So that's the thing, and that's at any of those properties. You cannot guarantee
Right.
anything.
But the organization, I've already forgotten it. What's
Which
the one that they keep coming here and they're talking about that they're meeting with state officials? It's the organization of these.
Joyful, the one that has a house, and she
Well,
has.
but a state, there's a state organization for these homes.
Oh yeah. Oh, the assisted living.
Yeah,
That's different. Different. Those are state regulated,
right.
and they pay through the state.
But does that organization, I'm looking at question number 3.
Well, part of
Do
their acceptance.
do they accredit the people they allow to join?
They have some kind of certification and licensure.
Right.
However, their part of their criteria to be accepted into their homes is to have a mental health diagnosis. So again, they can't guarantee that the person not gonna wake up one day and say, "Oh, I feel like this," but you can monitor their meds.
Right, but they have a statewide.
Right, licensure, yes.
Well, they have a statewide organization.
Yes, LARCA.
LARCA.
Yes.
So whatever LARCA is, that's an organization, Denise, that you could.
Yeah, I would like to see them all on the list because a lot of them are in need and on the verge of closure. Some of them for the lack of referrals and the minimum amount of money that the state is paying them per person for 24/7 care.
Yeah.
So that I would really like to talk to you about putting them in the network because they are licensed through the state of California.
And what do you mean by pay to stay?
Well, so right now, everything in the app,
Is free.
all programs are free, and all shelters are free, except for one, but it's really is free because the residents pay a very minimal amount, but then when they leave, they get it all back. It's basically a forced savings plan. So, and then some of our other services like healthcare, some of it's free, some of it's sliding scale. So it just depends on your income. If you don't have any income, then it becomes free. If you have a minimal income, you pay minimally. But some of the shelter bed providers do charge, and that is new to us to think about in the WIN app. It is not a negative unless, of course, the charge becomes at such a level, it's, a true market rate. And then it doesn't belong in the WIN app. It belongs in the rent.com or whatever. So,
so let me digress for a second because one of your categories is food. Are you saying that all of the things in the food category are totally free?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because so you're not.
So there are some senior centers that will, if they do sliding scale, and they might charge you $5, and some of it.
Right. Right.
Because places like World Harvest are not fully free, but they're unless you volunteer at them. But they are mostly close to free. I mean, when you get $200 to $300 worth of groceries for $30.
Oh no. But
that's kind of free. It's not really free, and you can work there and make it free. And I mean, it's a food bank, but not all food banks are free.
Well, the majority to the churches and to whoever's giving out food are free.
Correct.
And there's a multitude of them. I mean, there was so much food that a lot of the churches were feeding through during the pandemic. It was unbelievable.
Yeah, but what I mean is, What I Need is the name of the app. So do I need, whoever I am, absolutely free everything? I understand how you started this, but maybe as you do beds, focus more on the concept of what I need, not the concept of everything is free. It's just my thought. Because maybe they need 100% free. I know that's new.
It's a concept of what I need with the target audience being either unhoused or struggling not to be unhoused.
Right. Correct. So it should be free. So
No,
for right now, but what
The-
I'm
the
saying, what
immediate-
I'm saying, when you said about the low income, are you going along with the norm of the 30% of income?
yeah. See, that's what I'm asking about number 4, because I understand your question. Should we include places where you have to pay to stay?
Yeah, and then if
And I
we
would
do,
say-
what's the cutoff? Because obviously, a place that charges $5,000 a month doesn't belong here.
Well,
So then, so if we include, what is the reasonable monthly fee cutoff for inclusion so that we have a criteria to use for these?
I think Tori just said 30,
Well,
30%,
Yeah, it's usually 30%.
percent of income.
But I think that anyone who provides beds should be on that.
Yeah.
Because you have 100,000 homeless, and I don't know how many units do they say they're short, but I don't think there's a shortage.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying is maybe it doesn't have to be free. Maybe this category doesn't have to be free, but it certainly has to be low cost.
Well, they have both. Both should be on there.
Yeah.
If they have income, they pay the 30%. If they don't, it's free.
Well, it'd be a different place.
Whatever she has on there,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
up to them to have the app,
Right.
and they actually call themselves.
Correct.
So
'Cause they're
it's up to them.
Well, that's true. It's self-referring.
Right, and so it's up to them to tell the truth, because when they go in for the actual interview, they gotta find out anyway.
Right.
So
Anyway, these are our personal thoughts. So we have Donna and Bev here too. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts or even know what we're talking about, which is the, Denise, if you could just reintroduce what we're talking about, not go back to the top of anything, but just tell them what we're doing.
We've just been talking about the Win What I Need mobile app, which connects those that are homeless or struggling with resource insecurity to free services or low-cost services they can access without a referral. About 2,300 free programs in there right now. And we're talking about a new feature that we're looking into piloting about how you could find whether or not in real time beds might be available at a shelter or a home. And that would mean looking at beds that would be available outside of the traditional system, and then talking about issues related to that. We want to do it. We just want to get a lot of input on the best way to do it.
Right. And the other services that we talked about before you guys got here were things like healthcare, food, jobs,
well, they're all on
transportation.
there.
They're all on there. Before
which is
Bev.
really good.
Yes, before Bev, Donna.
What I would
Here.
suggest, Denise, is that you have a state license category. And I know they have at least 1,000 beds available. So they really are struggling. And I would love to see them on the list to be an option
Mhm.
to select, because that will help a lot of the mentally unstable group that will take them off the street. And anyone else out of the task force that we're working with, it would help them fill their beds as well. Because they're, even though they've been in business for years, a lot of them are using their own personal cards or to stay afloat or whatever they're using, whereas somebody could be in the bed and the state could be funding them.
So Tori, as we've had this conversation before, and this is my frustration with this whole system, is that you have all these nonprofits out there that are getting funded, and people aren't getting housed. So again, I come back to the same question, and no one seems to have an answer for, that after 31 years of LASA, why are we billions of dollars paid out and the homeless count has tripled? So I don't trust any of these systems that are in place right now, that have been in place for a long time. When you say, because with my interaction of people who are homeless, like you and I have worked together on a few things, there are people who are getting $1,000 a month. You and I know that for sure, who are on the street.
Yeah, they're sitting in
living in RVs, exactly. So
Right.
I don't understand. And here's the thing: when you talk about having people be able to access an app to get direct information or into housing, first of all, you have to assume that people are capable. That first of all, they have a phone, access to a computer, know
Right.
know how to use it, and I don't see that. I don't see that happening. I don't see, and the people that I talk to, especially when you talk about mentally ill people, how do you expect them to actually do that?
And
That's a
secondly,
really
Beverly, are they housable?
Exactly.
People have beds for people who aren't,
Violence. Right.
yes, violent or dangerous. Look at the man on the beach the other day that
Yeah.
attacked several
Yeah.
women.
Well, look at the guy that attacked two people in the Venice Canal, two women in the Venice Canal, and the one died. I mean,
Yeah, so
I don't,
that's
even,
my worry.
yeah,
How do
exactly.
you make those
Determinations
right?
yeah.
when they
That's
don't even
my
have,
biggest thing. I'd rather give the money to situations where they can be placed safely.
Right.
Okay,
Because
So let her
bed
answer.
doesn't
Let
mean
her
right,
answer.
well, hang on, you guys. So what I want to make sure is that Dr. McCain has the chance to finish this presentation, because I
Yes.
think we're digressing off of it.
Right.
well, what is
So
it?
let her
And the
answer that.
digression did start with me and
Yes, it
Tori,
did.
so sorry. But maybe we should finish the presentation
Well-
and then go on to our round robin
Well,
discussion.
she can answer that.
Yeah.
Go ahead and answer their concerns as far as the app is concerned with
Yeah,
the individuals having
right.
access versus the
Well, you've had
providers.
this app for a decade, right? So already people are using it.
People are using it, and I would like to address the folks with serious mental illness. The app, I mean, I have a nephew who's schizophrenic. I will tell you, no, not capable of, he would not be capable of using an app. But the app wasn't, it isn't going to be used by everybody, but a vast majority of people that are experiencing homelessness or resource insecurity, like one paycheck away, barely housed, doubled up, tripled up, sleeping in cars, can use an app. But there are folks that can't, and we know it, and we know we're not going to be able to change that. It's not, and we also, I agree, there are not the services that we need for people that are severely mentally ill, and there aren't the beds for them, and there's not the housing for them, and I won't even go down the road of what I think of deinstitutionalization of all of that occurred in the 80s, and they've never created those spaces. That
Right.
said, people that do know what they need are suffering with being unhoused, or especially if they're newly unhoused, they don't know where to go. Do people know how to use a phone? Taking out those suffering from mental illness or that are extremely elderly. What we know is, and not just from us, but all kinds of both local and national research from RAND to Pew, all of these folks, is that over 95% of people have a smartphone. The Federal Lifeline provides a smartphone for anyone who can't afford it, and people use it. Now, they don't all use it in the same way, but they use it for basic things. So we know they know how. I'd say with those two things, that's not where we tend to see barriers. Where we tend to see the biggest barriers is people knowing about the app, because it doesn't matter how good it is. If you don't know about it, you're not going to use it. So that's what we see. With respect to the rest, we do feel like within your communities, if you would like flyers or postcards, information, resource fairs that you want any of our staff to attend, to further letting people know, it really can be used both by businesses and individuals as a referral tool, as well as by the individual looking themselves. And if you happen to know of either a new program in your community or a program that's recently made some changes, email me directly. I will make it in the app. We want to know. So this is kind of what some of our, outreach materials look like. And I wanted to just say thank you for having me with you today.
Well, we appreciate you coming, and I'm sure you can understand our frustration. after 31 years and working. And Tori, my hat's off to her, because this is the only person that I know who's in the trenches every day, all hours of the night, trying to get people off the street. And so I run up against the same, issues with, topics, they don't come out for 4 or 5 days. It's crazy. So if you think an app, however it's going to be implemented, is going to help people get housed, I'm all about it. Seeing if it's going to work. I don't, especially for seniors who are not computer literate. Yeah, they know how to use a phone, a cell phone. They know how to dial, but they don't know how to navigate through the internet. I still think that we have to be one-on-one with some of these people to help them. And I don't see that effort being consistent. I don't see any continuity there. When it takes Hopics 4 days or 5 days to get out to a person who would like housing, that's problematic, especially if they're super transient.
I agree. And we know that what we're doing is important. We know it is not perfect. We know it's not going to help everybody. We're always looking for ways to improve it. And yet at the end of the day, there are many people that need one-on-one. Some
Right.
people really do like to use their phones. And I think especially if younger families, much more very tech savvy. Do I think an 80-year-old, maybe a very rare one, but my mom passed a few years ago when she was 80, and I will say she'd never gotten the cell phone things, and she certainly was past having any ability to learn it. So
Right.
no, this isn't the panacea to cure everything. This
Right.
is an avenue to allow people one more way to help find access to resources. Our problem is so big here in LA County, and frankly, in so many places in the country, that
Right.
having more than one avenue is imperative.
Right.
And I agree with that. I don't disagree with you on that. My frustration is that, Tori and I have this conversation. Is there housing or is there not housing? Is there available housing or is there not housing? And I think that no matter what avenue you give people to reach an office or get help, if there's no place for them to go, what have you done?
Right.
What have you accomplished?
Well, that's the issue that I'm trying to address here. There are places, there are empty houses, there are empty beds. It's just a matter of them being on a list to be referred to. A lot of people don't know they even exist. And they're not the marketing gurus, but they're
Right.
there. Somebody comes across, some miraculous way. Like I get a call every other day for someone that needs housing, and so
I
I
know.
refer them to one of them, and so they're not in CES, but they take good care of them. One of them has a daycare. She feeds them all 3 meals a day. I mean, they living really good. They can go to work because they have daycare on the premises. Problem is, I couldn't refer a family to them with a husband still intact. So I was like, okay. So I just sent them to another agency that I know, and she put them in a shelter for the time being. But I got a family with 4 kids, one with 5 kids, one with 7, and it's like, oh. So more places for families.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. I don't think, there are families out there that are home. There are men as well, with families that are on the street. And for a man to not be able to stay with his family, in my opinion, is inhumane as well. And so
one of the husbands said, I'll sleep in the car.
Yeah, exactly. So why are we, in 2024 not understanding that families are homeless and that men should be included in that as well? Why are we so behind with that concept? So my thing is, I agree that there needs to be more than one way for people to access. The problem is, if you have no place for them, what difference does it make?
Right.
So I just
Right.
wish,
But there are
that you
places,
answered that
she has
question.
over 2,300 resources in this app. Not
Yeah.
necessarily 2,300 beds, but 2,300 resources. So one of the questions I wanted to ask Dr. Denise is, do you keep statistics on the app? Are there, like, how do you know how many people are being housed through your app?
And
Yeah.
how many people are being housed and staying housed? That's the
Well,
problem.
But
Well,
those go beyond. So first, there's two questions. One, this app is more than just housing. So no, you may not find housing, but you can find food, you can find
Right.
clothing, you can find a lot of other basic needs that you're going to need for support, case management, getting whatever. Secondarily, we don't, and Bev, you weren't on the call for this. The Win app does not, it's completely anonymous usage, totally confidential. That means we never know who's
Right. That's
searching.
right.
So because we don't know who's searching, in
Uh-huh.
order for me to know how many people were housed, how many people used the app and actually ate food tonight
Uh-huh.
because of
Uh-huh.
it, I would
Right.
have to have had them either sign in or I have to use what's called beacon technology. So that if
Mhm.
somebody, so basically hooking a beacon into when they download the app, so it makes a unique identifier that I could then track everywhere they go. We
Right.
don't do it.
Right. I
So
understand.
in the interest of honoring the dignity and privacy of our users, which is, by the way, we don't get any public dollars. Guess why? Because we aren't able to get, they want every bit of demographics and they want to know everything.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
where were they when they searched? Where
Right.
did they go after that? Did they go there? Did they eat? I mean,
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. I understand exactly what you're saying. And what's so interesting and kind of comical about that, doctor, is this. Billions of dollars have gone to lots of nonprofits who have no accountability for anything.
Yeah.
And so now, and you guys don't get, you're not eligible for public funds. So where do your funds come from?
We recently pre-qualified actually for LASA, but they don't have any RFPs that cover what we do. So I'm not sure what that means, but I'm
So you
hopeful.
qualified for LASA to get federal funds from LASA.
We just did the pre-qualification and got approved for being pre-qualified in January.
Okay.
But our funding comes really from, we get grants from typically smaller foundations and then a lot of individuals that just donate. So,
okay.
So we don't have a very big budget. I've been doing this. Well, I did the first directory in 2012. I've donated 100% of my time to do all of this, all the development, everything. And then we have some part-time staff now that work with us and a dev team, of course.
Gotcha. Well, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. And I really do admire the fact that you've given your time to this cause. I think there's a lot of fraud in this system. I think there's a lot of theft in this system and it needs to stop. And as Judge Connor has, I don't know if Carter has gotten the audit set up yet, but there needs to be accountability. So for ASA, for you to have done an application for LASA, good luck with that. First off, because they're in trouble. Seriously, they're not accountable for anything.
Well, they've been a lot better lately. We've been
because of Judge Carter. Last month.
Communication with them. They opened up the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays where you can go in and sit down and have a conversation. So the thing now is still statistically, without any names, being still confidential, you can still be able to say, give a tick mark. Oh, okay, this one was used today. It seems like there's some kind of way, because I work with databases and systems and I know how they can work. So what I need to know is, like, there's got to be a way that says, if I sent you to Open Arms today and that person said, okay, I'm on my way there, Open Arms should be able to click on accept it, like an accepted button, and say,
yeah, there's two pieces to that. One, we aren't involved in someone's search. So just because they search for something, they're not getting a referral then to Open Arms. They can go and read about Open Arms. They can call Open Arms. They can just read about it and show up at Open Arms. And for us to know they did it through the Win app, Open Arms would have to be required to let us know. And without funding attached, agencies don't add any reporting requirements to their bandwidth, partly because they spend a lot of time reporting.
Right.
That is something we're actually looking at on the beds available is everyone that participates in this beds available of these youth housing providers is going to have to report. Because what am I piloting if I don't know if it worked? So that'll be something we're looking at. In general,
Yeah.
we are able, like I would be able to go into my back end and see how many people we're using when right now.
Okay.
So I would be able, but I don't know who they are or if they're
That's
finding.
okay.
And then also, last year we had instituted a new thing that basically when someone's searching, after they've been on an X amount of time, a little pop-up appears in the app that says, was when helpful to you today? And you can either do a thumbs up, thumbs down, or add a comment.
Okay.
86% of the users said that when helped them.
Oh,
So
okay.
we
Okay.
don't-
So you have something.
we have something, very few users, a handful, but some of them actually took the opportunity to type in some actual feedback about what it helped them for. So we get that.
Oh, okay.
So if someone is online, which as I said earlier, you don't have to be online to search with when. If you are online when you search with when, we can see how many people search. So last year it was in the neighborhood of 26,000.
Oh.
When there were over 26,000 actual searches using when connected online. But everyone, once you've downloaded it, you don't have to be online. We have also been told by focus groups and staff that a lot of people don't want to use, especially if you have a federal lifeline like a phone, an Obama phone. They don't want to use their connected minutes to search when they could do it without being connected and save those minutes for something else. We have no way to collect how many people use it to search when they're offline, but it's an important service to be able to provide.
That sounds good though. That's something. That gives you a little bit of an idea, but that 26,000 is quite impressive.
Let's just say UNNC does not have 26,000 people looking at its website.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. But we got to figure out how that marketing can work a little better. But that's good. That's some good numbers.
Well, thank you.
So, Beverly, down on the website, so you can look at it if you like, is OCLAWIN. OCLAWIN.org. Yes.
Okay.
The WIN, Diane, stands for what I need.
So it's Orange County, Los Angeles, what I need.
Okay, good.
Well, sort of, except we're not in Orange County. Let's not be confused.
Well, whatever. But
What is OC?
What does OC stand for?
What does OC stand for?
The name of our organization is Our Community LA. So
I didn't think it was Orange County.
All right, but it's easier to remember. OCLA, what I need. Just saying.
Our community. Let's think
Okay,
what
our
it is.
community, Los Angeles, what I need.
And
Yes.
by the way, if you were to go to either of the app stores and wanted to download the app, you need to put in what I need. If you just put in WIN, every lottery game known
Right.
mine will come up first.
Yeah.
Okay, to search for app. Okay.
Search for, you just put in what I need, and it will be the first thing that you see in the store.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
Denise, does
you guys take a look at this. We are always looking for what else can we do to make this better, because I think there's a lot. We have to do a certain amount each year because we don't have lots of funding, but I'm always making a list, and I really would welcome it if you guys would do that. If you ever want to have me come back and just share with me your suggestions or email them to me, I would really appreciate it.
Denise, do you have an actual office?
No.
Okay.
We are virtual. All my staff, where everybody works from wherever they are.
Okay, gotcha.
virtual office. Okay, so I would like to see between now and the next month, probably the LARCA assisted livings on there.
No, well, maybe you can connect her to,
I will. So
Yeah.
says Benny
right.
and Salonika.
And if I have a chance, I'll look at it, because I've been very interested since the beginning of COVID with food insecurity. So I am curious about what your referrals are compared to some of the stuff we've looked into, for example. So,
Oh yeah, there's a lot. Pretty
You
much.
know, Tori and Laura, there used to be a food giveaway on 24th or 23rd Street and 8th Avenue. Do you know why that one stopped? And who was doing that one? It was every
23rd.
week. Yeah, right on the
23rd and 8th?
north tins the sound wall north side on 8th by 8th and 23rd Street, where all the RVs are.
really?
Yeah, there used to be a food giveaway there every week, and there was a
Well,
line.
there is a Tay service
No,
provider.
that's 10th Avenue. That's
No,
10th.
no. There's one on 8th, corner of the northeast
It's-
corner of 8th Avenue and 23rd.
Right.
It is a
Is that what you're talking
it's a
about?
Tay provider.
Yeah.
Northeast corner?
Exactly. Right there
Yeah,
where the
that's it.
cross
That,
where the
that,
cross bridge is.
yeah,
That's a
I don't know if
provider.
they're still doing Tay,
I'm sure they still do it.
but that was that's a housing provider.
It probably never started back up from after COVID.
Yeah.
A lot of resources just are not rebooted
Right. Yeah,
Okay.
gotcha.
since COVID.
Okay.
We haven't even started our food back yet, at Holman, but we get the new pastor July 1st, the first Sunday of July, and so then he'll start whatever he wants to start and get it back going again.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I tell you, it is 8:20. Do we have any other questions for Dr. McCain?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, anybody you want to add to the app, to the WIN app, that we can probably help?
Well, we should. Those of us who are interested should just.
Oh yeah,
download it.
what I'm gonna do is get you in touch with Larka, Denise, and they can give you the list of their assisted livings. And then we'll look at the task force table after I ask them would they be interested, because I know a couple of them are really interested in getting it out there, because they have these beds sitting here every month that should be filled. So
God.
we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, and no further questions? You have any, Laura?
Not for Denise.
Okay.
Well, I
yeah,
probably
so-
have a lot for Denise, but not tonight.
Give her a break till we do some research.
Yeah.
A couple of things that I did do this week though is went to a House LA symposium, and Mayor Karen Grass was there, and they talked about if you are a property owner with available rental units, I told them what has been said on my call. And I said, you guys have deserted the property owners when an issue occurs and when something happens that they need an answer to. And they said, we are not doing business as usual, and that will not happen, right? So what they're doing,
That's a lot.
they're doing a homeless incentive program where they got damage mitigation up to $2,000 now for repairs, not covered by the security deposit. They have a vacancy loss payment, 1 month rent if the family vacates the unit without proper notice or is evicted for good cause. One-time payment, rental payments deposited directly to the owner's account. They have a peace of mind clause now, specialized
Wait. Tori, you're going a little fast. They have what kind of clause?
peace of mind. That's what it's called.
What is that? What does that entail?
That means they will answer your questions when they need to be answered. So, questions and concerns are a priority now.
Right.
And they have qualified referrals, screen or select from qualified individuals and families. They have move-in assistance now, application fees up to $50 per adult per application, security deposit up to double the rent, utility assistance to get the unit move-in ready. And they have 1 month's free rent, sign-on bonus based on fair market rate, payable upon the execution of a housing assistance payment contract.
Okay,
So,
no,
they
so,
have all of this in effect now. This is new. It's not a new program, but it's new
Terms.
okay, so
way of
Tori,
doing business.
so Tori, I have a specific question for you. Having dealt
Yes.
with housing section 8, how long does it take for them to make the first payment into your checking account?
Oh, okay. So right now, I was telling you, they have this inspection packet right now, right? If it's an empty unit, they said, if you fill out the packet or what have you, I got a whole packet here, Bev. It's a whole new thing.
Okay,
So
so you
what's happening is they said your inspection could take place within the week after they receive the packet.
uh-huh.
And then they have all these incentives that they will do. Actually, they have.
Okay, but and I understand all that. Trust and believe I
Uh-huh.
do. Here's my question about what your meeting. And see, here's the thing: they have these meetings and they're talking about, but they don't have property owners there. And so
Well-
when I've asked questions before, for example, the main problem that we have as property owners is that we have, of course, Laura and David don't have this problem, but we have problems with tenants who become problem tenants and they will not get them out. That's then our problem, which
Okay,
costs us, wait a minute,
that's
let me
not-
finish.
Go ahead.
Which cost us thousands of dollars. They run away good tenants. So this is the question, and I'm gonna give this to you to take back since you're in contact with these people. When we have a problem tenant, we need them out.
Beverly,
And that's a problem with Section 8.
that's not supposed to be a problem anymore. They have a whole new.
So where in the clause, where in the
Well,
clause
there's
do you
nothing
have there
allowed
does it say
about
that? Where in the
Yes.
clause, the paper
Well,
that
no,
you
that was
showed,
right.
where does it say that they will get a problem tenant out
Denise left us.
immediately? Because that
Okay.
never happens.
Well, we not gonna say never. If they're trying to do business a little differently, and we can't talk about what happened there, we can talk about what they plan to do now and moving forward. They did have a landlord meeting this morning, but it was through WLCAC. It was 10 to 12 this morning. So it has all kind of benefits for landlords too. And the people that were there did own property. So it's a matter of you getting on their list, I guess, to get all this stuff. Because they have
Yeah,
meetings all the time.
well, Donna,
So-
have you ever been in one of those meetings?
Donna left. Donna just,
She just
Donna, listen. WLCAC says they have the benefits of security deposits, holding fees, guaranteed subsidy payments, free unit advertising, problem prevention, satisfaction of helping others, and much more. So that's under the coordinated entry system. That's a CES that they're taking. So all we can do is
all you can do is give me that information because I need to read that information that you have. Maybe you can email
all
it.
you have to do is put them to the challenge.
okay,
Yeah,
Donna's
well, yeah.
back, by the way, Deb.
Okay, so
Now you
okay,
can
so
ask her.
here's the thing. You're right. Is put them to the challenge, but
Right.
I don't. First of all, again, I don't trust these people. I need to read that. I need to read that information that you were waving up. You have the papers. I need to
Right.
read that. I need to read it word for word, paragraph for paragraph, because there's always some trickery in there.
Well, let's hope not.
Okay, I want to say something. So there is always a balance, Beverly.
Right.
And the balance is, even if somebody's horribly misbehaving,
Right.
there's still the other laws about giving notice to correct. I mean, all those things. So there's always going to be time involved.
Right.
But what we want, I think, is for HACLA to be in effect the co-lessee with the tenant, so that the notice is given to the housing authority along with the tenant if there's a problem, right?
Well, that's what they're saying. They're more involved now. All I can do is take their word.
Right.
All I can do is take I mean, everybody from the CEO on down was there.
Right.
So they, but I
Well, that's
think,
why nobody wants to do anything with them. They have to change. Because
well,
I
they
know
have.
they will never, ever, ever sign a contract with me again.
Well, that's what I told them. I was saying some landlords will just never, ever.
Well, because
and that's why they're
Well,
attempting to do different.
right, but
They
there's,
have to. I understand.
Right.
Joy. I understand what they've put down. They
Right.
told me they'll pay me a lot of money to get them in, and then they tell me treat them like you treat your other tenants. And that means right now the way the city is treating landlords like we're culprits, and
Right.
we have to pay our taxes, pay our yearly whatever
Right.
Your
what
skip
do you call
fees.
it? Yes, everything else, and still deal with people who are totally insane and acting out to the point with each other.
Right.
So yeah, I learned.
Yeah, erratic behavior. But
So here's the
okay,
thing,
so
Tori, here's
Yes.
the thing. I never get I never get heads up on a meeting early enough to make it with you. You'll like call me that day, whatever, 2 hours before. I need to, in order for me to attend,
whenever I find out sometime what is
I need an advance notice. Okay, I
Right.
do. The same day isn't working for me, or the morning of isn't working for me. If you know of these meetings with the housing department where they're talking to owners, I'll be more than happy to go and get some peace of mind about what they're saying and get someone who would be accountable to me. They
Right.
already owe me $35,000 they haven't paid. Okay. I don't
Hackler?
trust them.
Hackler?
The housing Section 8.
yeah,
Hackler.
Yeah,
Okay,
whatever
so
the Hackla.
well, you need to get in touch with them.
I've already done the portal, already done all that stuff already. But I'm just saying that I am not going to, as a property owner who's owned income property for 25 plus 30 years. I've had Section 8 tenants, and I know you're saying you can't deal with that, but we've been in meetings with these people in Zoom calls before, and I ask them questions and they can't answer. So whatever you're holding in your hand with all the new things and rules and policies that the housing department now is going to do to get people housed, I need to see that. And I need to go
and
to
I'll
one
give
of
you
those
a name
meetings.
of somebody to talk to.
okay.
Yeah, but I need to go to one of those meetings and I need to ask questions and I need to see who this is coming, because I don't trust Karen Bass either.
Okay.
Okay.
You know you can't have that on this call. But anyway,
We're not supposed to be venting.
Right.
Because we're being recorded, folks.
Right. Remember, it may be.
I don't care. I'll tell her to her face. I don't trust her.
But listen.
We care.
We're gonna adjust and adjourn in 2 seconds. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the program as of October 1st, 2023, is talking about the current fair market rents. So for the SROs, it's $1,333. For a 0-bedroom, it has $1,777. For 1 bedroom, it's $2,006. No, take that back. 1 bedroom, $2,006. 2 bedroom, $2,544, and 3 bedroom, $3,263. So those are the current fair market rates that they're operating under right now.
Well, that at least is.
If you doubled it, it wouldn't help me.
Yeah,
So wait a minute. So Tori, so let me back up, sweetheart. So for a studio apartment, how much is it?
0 bedroom, that's the $1,777.
Okay, so that's a studio. So for a 1 bedroom is how much?
$2,006.
And a 2 bedroom is how much?
$2,544.
$2,544 for a 2 bedroom.
$2,544.
Yeah, $2,544.
Correct.
Right. Okay,
Correct.
and for a 3 bedroom,
$3,263.
okay, yeah, that's still below the area where my units are.
Yeah,
But that's
and
okay.
secondly,
That's okay.
Secondly, Beverly, they'll offer you double that.
You said what?
They'll offer you double that.
Yeah, what is word?
And they'll put it
Rate will adjust.
to get somebody in your
Some
apartment.
loser in there. Hey,
Okay.
Tori.
We are
Hey, Tori.
officially adjourning.
Tori.
Call me offline.